So I have 5 full-time editors that work on my team. So I own a marketing agency where we manage content for clients. So we actually, like, as a service provider, and my primary demographic is real estate investors, just because I've been in the industry for 13 years or so. I actually have, like, we manage podcasts, social media, and YouTube content, all on the organic side. So, like, we'll have a client that has us say edit and publish 2 videos a day on social media. Their only thing that they're doing, which is, and I'm not honestly not pitching you my services. I think that process for you to understand is valuable, because this is essentially, if you hire an in-house video editor, this is the way you're going to want to structure it. So with my clients that I work with, the number one thing that I tell them when I'm onboarding them or on a sales call with them is the idea is for you to stay out of the process as much as possible. So all you're doing is recording the content, and that's it. After they record the content, now we have a process, whether it's they drop it into Google Drive. Me, I use Riverside, which is what we're on right now, where I'll literally I have my editor log into Riverside. I might give like, okay, well, I recorded these videos. This is the order that I want them to go out, that sort of thing. I don't give them anything else, though. I don't give them instructions. I don't give them like any kind of context or anything like that, which I'll get to and why I don't do that in a second. But the idea is that the editor can just go in and then edit and then move it to the next part of the process, which for us is quality control and copywriting and then publishing. So ideally, where you want to be is you're just shooting the videos and you have to do anything after that. That's literally where you want to be, right? With the editors, here's the few things that I'm going to tell you. Number one is, and this is, I'll try to keep it as in order as possible, but I will say that this is in no particular order, just for the sake of jumping around, but these are just the main things that you need to be thinking of. Number one is I personally am a very operational process and system-driven person, which just in the few minutes that we've talked, I believe you are as well, just from what I've gathered. And normally, analytical people are, right? Like they're very process-driven and systemized. To me, that's the most important thing before you bring any editor on. If you don't have those things in place, and it doesn't have to be anything complicated, just be like, what timeline do you have? The process from when you shoot the video to the time that it gets edited and then published and that sort of thing. And then, we use Trello for our project management, and we use pipelines. So not like everybody will talk about like social media calendars, like, on Monday through Friday, what videos go out and that sort of thing. You're not even there yet. You're just concerned about the editing. So when you get to that point, the editor is responsible for the pipeline of the videos coming in, which I'll explain here in a second. But processes and the systems are very important, because if you have those outlined, you could take an editor and plug them right into it when you hire them. So another piece on the hiring part is I generally want my editor to know at least contextually know my industry in the space. So for example, again, I told you that most of our clientele is in the real estate space. When I'm bringing editors on, one of the first things I'm looking at is what type of industry they've worked within. All my editors that I've hired, and honestly, the most recent editor that I hired was 2 years ago. So all my editors have been on my team for 4, 5, 6 years, some of them. And when I'm hiring them, I'm looking at like what experience they've had, and every single editor that I've ever hired was working in the professional field at least, but most of them were actually in real estate in some way, shape, or form. I like actively looked for that. When they come on, I still do some sort of a training for them. So what I would advise you to do is before you have, like, let's say, for example, you're in the process of hiring, and I'll just tell you right now, like Upwork is the best place to find freelance video editors, especially what you're utilizing for. So because it's going to give you the best like ability to look at their experience, the work they've done, their hourly rate, their success rates, like all the data is there for you to make a good decision. What I would do is I would have like, typically the hiring fashion is like, make sure you run them through your core values and like all your standards and stuff like that. Interview them. Once you come down to like your top like 5 candidates, let's say you interview, or let's say that you like have 10 people apply, and then you're going to interview 5 of them because that's like the success rate or whatever, like they actually fit your quota. What I would do is have those 5, assign them a task to go to your YouTube channel and write like even like an essay about the industry that you operate in. That will give you a cognitive context of like if they actually can understand what you're talking about, because that's important, especially if they're clipping. So you're doing YouTube. Once you start utilizing your long form for short form content, so you're chopping out like 60-second, 45-second segments, that's even more important because they have to make sure they keep context. Because if you're doing a 5-minute video and they're not editing any clips out of that, then that's hard to get wrong. But as soon as they go on social media and they got to chop out a 45-second segment, one of the biggest gripes and one of the biggest reasons why people come to me is because the editor that they hired loses context. They don't know how to start the video. They like cut out like weird information. They leave in fluff. Like, you want them to understand thoroughly. That's the most important part of the editor's job, in my opinion.